like, what were you most struggling with when you first reached out to us back to the beginning? What were your biggest struggles?
Yeah, sure. So the super short version is I have spent the last 14 years with chronic illness and 2 pregnancies. And part of my healing journey is learning how to feed myself again, which seems silly, but it's not. To go from nearly bedridden to functional in a matter of years, I really truly had to redefine my relationship with food. And I practically put on a ton of weight, side effects to medication, years of, as I said, being nearly bedridden and inactive. And part of being healthy is being a healthy weight. It's never been about being a picture. It's never been about what I can and cannot wear. That's not what it's about for me. It's about how I feel best in my body and how I can move my body, and knowing that that I've worked really hard to be healthy and continue to be healthy, and I want to stay as healthy as possible for these 2 kids that I'm raising.
Yeah, absolutely. So why is it so important? What's because we spoke about this offline a little bit about, doing this for your children, and tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. So so I've always had sort of an interesting relationship with food. Certainly going back to my childhood, I can still hear my mother's voice in my head at times, as do most of us. My children's father also has his own less than ideal relationship with food. So we both have struggled with this as adults, and have struggled with our weight, struggled with our relationship to food, struggling with feeding ourselves. And then our children, who are now almost 14 and 10. And we made a decision pretty much from the moment we found out we were pregnant with each child that we were not going to pass on our own food and body image issues to our children. That we wanted to create for them a healthy relationship with food and a healthy body image. And that we knew came from us modeling first. We knew that in order to do that successfully, we had to be the best model. And it means that we've never and continue to not talk negatively about our bodies or about food in front of our children. Behind closed doors, and to my best friend might be one thing. But the only comments I ever make about anybody, mine or anyone else's, are positive in front of my children. And the relationship with food and that balance, and knowing how to fuel their body. It's about fueling our bodies, and we can enjoy it. And we're foodies, and food is really important to us. We really like to eat a lot. Where I'm a baker, not professionally, but I love to bake. It's part of who I am. And so trying to balance the joy of baking and the joy of sharing cake, while also finding that balance between how can I fuel fuel and enjoy as opposed to solely enjoy. And that is at 43, that's a struggle that I deal with literally every day. I mean, yesterday included, actually. So it is an everyday struggle. And I just don't wish that for my children at all. I want them to enjoy wonderful, healthy, balanced nutrition food that's going to fuel them through the school day. And also know that getting ice cream at the end of the day once a week or once every few weeks is great and enjoyable. And we support that, we promote that, and we celebrate it, and we honor it as something we do as a family. And it's something that's always there to try and set them up better off than I was.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm right there with you. Growing up, with parents that never exercised, and one parent, utilizing food and drugs as a coping mechanism. And you as an adult, you have to make a choice. You have to decide what your future story is going to be. So what made you reach out to us? Because we are a holistic, sustainable weight loss solution. But for so many women, they get drawn into the 30-day abs programs, especially in the States, and what would you say, like, say if this woman watching today, she's deciding between picking the sustainable holistic route or the 30-day program, like, what would you say to her?
It was really easy for me. It was such an easy decision. I literally made it in under 5 minutes, and it was lasting health. Lasting health is a slow and steady process. That's it. It's very simple. Yes, there are really fast ways, 30 days or less, to lose weight and fit into a dress or a bathing suit because you're going away. There are those ways, and they might work in the short term, but the damage it can cause to my body has never been worth it to me at all. Over my life, I have gained and lost hundreds of pounds, right? And have always taken a very measured approach to it, whether I've done it on my own or whether I've done it through a program. And I have, in the past, after both of my pregnancies, used a really popular sort of weight loss program in the States. And I did it my way. So I used the tools, but I didn't follow it exactly because I couldn't follow it exactly. Not all of it sat right with me. But this time around, after being sick and needing to redefine what health looks like now, right? The last time I was healthy, I was 29, right before I got pregnant with my almost 14-year-old. And now I'm 43. And so what does health look like now, right? Yes. With chronic illnesses and a mother of 2 kids and, approaching perimenopause, all of this, how does that look like? How does my relationship with exercise need to look right now for this body? And part of that redefinition of food was, as soon as a very close friend of mine pointed out, hey, like, I know I've talked to you about Emily's program, but I think you should really start following her on Instagram. Like, you've been talking about this a lot. I think what she's saying is going to resonate with you. And I went in, and it was less than 5 minutes until I made the decision and less than 10 minutes until I signed up. And it was the holistic approach that did it for me. And I knew that I needed an immense amount of support. I had just ended my marriage. I was entering this whole new phase of life. It was a period of transition. And so why not add a whole other transition to this? But I like to do that sometimes. And it was the level of support. That's what made the decision so easy. It was, I know that I want to do this. I know I'm capable of doing this. I know I have the capacity to do this. But doing it on my own will not work. I'm going to automatically fail if I try to do this on my own. And after learning more about the support that's offered through the program, through the coaches, through the weekly videos, through everything, that's what it was for me. And that is the reason that I have had success so far and will continue have success. It's just that constant level of support and encouragement.
Yeah, and you work directly with our coach Jamie, and I love this because Jamie actually, she knows your cycles, she preempts, and that's the incredible piece about having a coach that's working so intricately with you. They know they know your body so well, and they're there, being able to catch you before you fall. And that is what's so important about a coach. But I do think the level of personalization is so important. In the States, sometimes there isn't a huge amount of personalization in a lot of programs. And it's you have to do your due diligence, and you have to find out how much personalization there is, because it should be from start to finish your journey and only your journey and your program and your relationship with your coach. It's incredibly personal. And through your journey so far, to tell me, like, what achievements like are you most proud of over the last few months of being with us? Like, it's a lovely moment to come together today and actually like really pinpoint those down.
Absolutely. So again, the caveat is that I spent years really sick. So my cycle was completely off. Also, entered my 40s. So that could change things. And there's no like magic test for perimenopause. But my cycle was wildly irregular. And my doctor was perfectly content with it given my age and circumstances. And so let's see, I started in April, and I think within maybe 6 to 8 weeks, my cycle became very regular, and I have had the most regular cycle since I started. And I will fully say that I did not think that was possible. I didn't think that was going to happen, given how much is happening inside my body that actually I thought was in control. So to get a regular cycle, like 28 to 32 days, like regular cycle was, that to me was the huge win of all of this. And I've really had to relearn how to track that and how it affects not just my mood, that part I knew, but how it affects food. And so many times, I've been on my call with Jamie and said, this happened yesterday, and I just I don't know why I was eating this, whatever this was, because it's happened several times. I don't know why. And she immediately said, pull up your cycle. Where are you in your cycle? And so I pull it out and I tell her what day I'm on, and she goes, oh, that's why you did this. And then, gives me a litany of reasons. And I literally said to her, I just vividly remember this one time. She was like, oh, well, yes, you're in your luteal phase. That's exactly why you were craving X, Y, and Z. And I just thought, oh my God, of course. Yes. Like, you're brilliant. It just doesn't occur to me. And that's the support, because I said to her, I don't know why this is happening. It was so strange. And she said, well, here's why it's happening. And she said, and now we know. And so now we're going to, looking forward, we're going to remember this is likely to happen, and we're going to plan for that. And so the next month, she said, you're about to enter this phase. When you do your weekly grocery order, I want you to stock your fridge with extra sweet fruit and veggies. Like, fill your fridge, the sweetest berries you can find, pile in the sweetest possible fruits and veggies, because that's my natural craving. And she said, and then when you're ready and your body's craving it, you're stocked and you can reach for those berries rather than whatever else might be around the house, which is namely chocolate chips. That's my emergency fix.
It literally lights me up so much, because we should have been taught this at school. Like, we should have been sat down and gone right over a 28-day period. This is what happens inside of your body. This is how your body responds to food. And this is your toolkit that you need pre-cycle, post-cycle. And it would be like, and then none of us would enter into this stupid diet culture. None of us would starve ourselves when we get to our teens. We'd all just go, okay, well, this is how we need to do it. So I love, and what's so powerful, Risha, as well, is it's education. It's invaluable, and it will be with you forever. And that is the one thing that gave me the key to my weight loss, was education, because I stopped sabotaging myself and beating myself up for my relationship, for my actions with food, and I actually started to learn why they were happening, and that it's the chemical thing, and it's a hormone thing, and you then become kinder to yourself. So education is amazing, and I love that win for you. It's not, oh, I've lost 20 pounds in 6 weeks. It's no, I'm actually in sync with my body. Like, I'm actually working as a team.
Yes, it is. And I have the education. I know everything that Jamie has said. I know. But this is the first time in a very long time that I have had a regular, consistent cycle. I'm talking like well over 5 years. Probably my youngest kid's 10. So probably the last time it was consistent was like right after I had him. Right. Because I'm 34 and like just had a baby. And like, of course, it's irregular at that point. So no, it's relearning all of this, which is why it's sort of like, oh, yes, just these light bulbs go off when she says these things. And then teaching that to my own daughter, right, who's almost 14, right? And her from the get-go, what she knows about her cycle is things I learned as an adult, right? It's like you said, they don't teach us that. They don't teach us that. And my mother's amazing, but she did not provide that for me, which makes sense generationally. That's certainly not part, at least in America, that's not part of what got passed down sort of from my mother's generation to my generation. My friends speak to this. But how my friends and I are raising our daughters is giving that information before the cycle even starts. And it just, even my son knows because he's got a mom and he's got a sister.
And maybe he'll maybe if he chooses a partner, it's a woman, that will be invaluable for him.
Absolutely.
To understand
absolutely
that.
Absolutely 100%. And so yes, I've absolutely lost inches or centimeters, since that's how you check. I absolutely have, and I've been able to wear t-shirts. There was one day in particular, maybe a month or so ago, I tried on this t-shirt and I was like, it's not going to fit. And I saved it. It's a cute little J. Crew t-shirt I've had maybe, I don't know, 8 or 9 years. And I parted with all sorts of clothes because I believe in dressing the body I have, not the body I used to have or want to have. But there were a few items that I couldn't part with. And this little navy blue t-shirt with birds on it was one of those things. And I was like, I'm just going to try it on. And I put it on and it fit and I felt good. And I immediately took a bunch of pictures and sent them to Jamie and was like, oh my God, and left her a huge voice note that was like, look at this. And so yeah, there are the tangible, visible results as well, right? I'm definitely seeing that for sure, and will know that I will continue to see that. Because for me, as I said, it's about being in the healthiest body that I can be right now, not the 26-year-old version, not the 33-year-old version who was trying to get pregnant a second time, but this 43-year-old version with chronic health issues.
Yeah, we're not chasing the past, like we're reinventing a new version of ourselves. And what's so beautiful as well is you've got back into that top, into that t-shirt, and you haven't got back into it because you've starved yourself for some weeks. You've actually eaten in a very nourishing way and have been kind to your body. And that's the beautiful piece, because when you fit into an item of clothing that the approach you've taken to get into it isn't healthy, it's like, yeah, maybe you feel good, but there's always this little voice in the back of your head going, but it probably is not going to fit you for very long. Whereas like that, this is a forever thing, and that's so beautiful. But that's all because you decided to choose the holistic, sustainable route rather than the quick fix. Which takes me to my final question. What would you say to someone, to a woman listening to this today that wants to make a forever change, maybe has really struggled with their weight for a very, very long time? What would you say? What would you share with them today to guide them?
I don't think there's any reason to wait. There's never going to be a right time. There's never going to be enough money. There's never going to be enough. It's never going to be the perfect moment. And I just don't think that it's worth wasting time on, I can't do this, or I'm not ready for this, or I don't know if it's going to work for me, or wouldn't it be great? And I certainly have been there and I'll be there again, I'm sure, about lots of different things, not just my body, but I mean, if I can do it at 40, 33 with 2 kids in the middle of a divorce, amicable, but in the middle of a divorce, chronically ill, working part-time, right? Like it's not rainbows and sprinkles here sometimes. It's challenging. It's challenging. But it was time to make the investment in myself, right? If I'm investing the time and energy in my children and investing in my business and my friends, it was okay to give myself permission to invest in myself. And I think that's what I would pass on to any other woman. It's okay to invest in yourself. It's okay to take the time for yourself. It's okay to prioritize yourself and your food and your exercise, and your friends are going to get on board and your family's going to get on board, right? The people who love you the most are going to get on board with you because this is such a positive, wonderful thing, right? They're only going to support you. And there's just no reason to wait, because then you spend more time being upset or sad or miserable or uncomfortable or whatever those feelings are. And the support's there, man. The support is the ticket. That, to me, that's the difference. That's the difference.
Yeah, definitely. And I know before we've had clients that have said, do you know, you're all the way in the UK, but I've never felt so close to somebody. Being able to have contact on the end of the phone, and be supported all the time. And it's lovely for us and it's lovely for you. We get to build this incredible bond and be there, You be weight loss doula, like be there. I know you have that incredible bond with Jamie, which has been so beautiful to see. Which, thank you so much for joining me and for sharing your opinions on this, and for sharing how important it is to pick the holistic, sustainable route, and also how empowering it is to have this domino effect that's going through onto your children, and being able to educate the next generation on how to work with our bodies rather than against them. So thank you so much for joining me. And very, very excited to see how the next few months go for you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, have a good day.